Welcome back to Mac Music Review. In this episode, we're going to be tackling a massive album, an album that has been loved for centuries. Not really, it's been loved for decades, and it's legendary. It's so legendary. It's over 20 years old now. It's 22 years old, released in 1998. Of course, I'm talking about the album In an Areoplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel, and this is the album cover. The hype surrounding this album is unreal among indie heads, among people who love indie and alternative music, people who love music from the 90s, just music nerds in general, and music critics just worship this album. They say it's the best thing ever. It was the last Neutral Milk Hotel album. They only had 2 albums and 1 EP. That's kind of crazy, they only had 2 albums. They stopped after this because apparently Jeff Mangum was so annoyed by all the people coming up to him and asking him what the lyrics on this album specifically meant. That's another thing with this album, is the lyrics are legendary for being really cryptic and weird, and people have different interpretations of the lyrics about what it could be referring to and what it could mean, but it's really, really weird. I can say that much. The lyrics on this thing are just wild and insane and oddly sexual, and I don't like that aspect of it. I think that's I have a few nitpicks with this album. I think it's a great album, but I don't think it's the best, and I have nitpicks. I have things that I don't like about it. And the first nitpick would be the lyrics. Like I said, some of the lyrics on this album are oddly sexual, specifically on the song Oh Comely, which is, it's the album's it's like the climax of the entire album. It's the longest song in the album. It comes later in the album. It's this really big, epic moment. And it's good, and then it just has this weird imagery that's just thrown in there, which I guess adds to the novelty of the album and just adds to the kind of weird vibe the album sets and makes it stand out. It makes me raise my eyebrows and go, what did he say about that? But I don't like the oddly sexual lyrics. They just seem they're kind of off-putting in a bad way, and weird in a bad way. The other thing that's kind of annoying is Jeff Mangum's voice. Now, he's extremely emotive, and I can give him props to that for really just throwing his heart into it. He sounds very original, sounds very unique, sounds very emotive, and those are 2 big pluses for me. But it can get grating. If you listen to this on repeat, you will start to, at least me, it just gets into my head, and not really get into, not catchy, but it just starts to bother me. Just how emotive he's being, and just how weird his voice is, it gets, and the way he chooses to sing, it gets a little bit grating. Yeah, over time. Literally, my only other nitpick on this album is I really don't care for the song King of Carrot Flowers Part 2 and 3, which is one song. It's the second song on the album. And yeah, this song to me kind of sucks. It's very repetitive. It doesn't go anywhere. And mainly just the repetitiveness and the blahness of the lyrics on this one. I really don't care for it. But with that being said, the first song in this album, King of Carrot Flowers Part 1, is one of the best. This is a fantastic intro to the album with some of the most interesting and funny lyrics of the entire thing, where you get this scenario of this dysfunctional family where the mom sticks a fork in the husband, and then the husband gets mad and throws the table or whatever. And it's just a really funny, the way he says it is so he says everything just kind of in passing almost, not even where it's really hard to describe. This is a very, very, very special album, extremely unique, extremely original, and that's one of the best things it has going for it, is there's not any other albums ever made that sound like this album. It's so special. And this song is a great example of how special and unique and how fun and also weird this album can be. In the Areoplane, or Aeroplane, the way it's spelled is A-R-E-O plane, which I don't know, maybe that's a European way to spell it. I don't know. But that's a fun song. It's a song that's actually kind of weighty when you look at the lyrical content. It's about death, and it's kind of beautiful. It's kind of sad. It's kind of awesome. It's a classic. That song is great. Two-Headed Boy is really good. Fool is I would say it's an interlude, because it's kind of just instrumental, and there's another instrumental moment, but this one is just kind of overshadowed and kind of just eclipsed by the better interlude instrumental track, which is Untitled, the second to last song on the album, which is one of my favorite songs on the entire album. I love this used to be a thing in the 70s and the 60s, and I don't know how much in the 80s, but instrumental tracks we've kind of lost I'm sorry, my voice cracked. We've kind of lost the art of the instrumental track, and I love how late into the 90s, 98, we're getting this amazing electro, like super fuzzy electro folk instrumental track. And it's just great. It's not that long, but it's great for every second that it's on. I really like it. And it's a lot better than Fool, so that song kind of gets like eclipsed and just overshadowed by it's living under untitled shadow, I should say. Now, this album has some ragers, some songs that go really, really, really hard. Like where he's just, specifically the music is just getting really loud and abrasive and fuzzy and just, it's like folk music mixed with rock music. It's literally like a folk rock album in the truest sense of the word, because you have these elements of rock, almost even metal, with how fuzzy and distorted it can get. And that's what this song is like. And I like that vibe, I like that energy that it's putting out, but I think it does it much better on the song Ghost, which is my favorite song on this album. I love the song Ghost because of this. Because of the emotion in the lyrics, specifically, the lyrics are specifically good on this, but the emotion in the lyrics, the emotion in the singing, paired with this, this really intense, building, rising music, just like on Holland, where it's really fuzzy, it's really distorted, it's got electronic music, it's got folk music, and it's all just colliding, and it's really, really hectic and insane and chaotic, and that's what I love about it. Like, that song is fantastic. I love the song Ghost, my favorite song on this album. Amazing song. Yeah. Communist Daughter is good. It's really good. It's actually a slower moment on the album, probably the slowest, and I really appreciate it for that, having the time to just kind of sit back and be a little bit more slow. But once again, I think this song is marred by the oddly sexual lyrics. It's a small nitpick though, because I do think this is one of the better songs on the album. I think it's a really, really good moment. It's kind of short, but it's just a really good moment and sticks with you. Oh Comely is an epic song. It is the album's climax, in my opinion, the album's big moment, and it's really good. Once again, I'm not a fan of the strangely out of place sexual lyrics and imagery, but it's a great song nonetheless. And the final song is Two-Headed Boy Part 2, an amazing closer, just finishes everything off, ties a neat little bow on everything. It's, it's that classic build. It's one of the longer songs on the album. It's got this build to this point, to the beginning, to the middle, to the end, and you just feel it. It gets you in your emotions. It's just a really fitting and satisfying closer to a really great album. This is an amazing album, but it's not one that I listen to very often, and it's not one that I will, after doing this video, come back to and listen to very often. I think it's great, and I think specifically some of the songs in this thing are fantastic, and I respect this album more than I actually like it. I really, really, really respect this album, because it's so original. Its blend of folk and rock, it was done in a way that has never been done at that point, and it's never been done since. There's never been a better combination, I would say, of folk and rock music as it is on this thing. And the electronic elements are so cool. This album is really innovative. It's very original. It's very special. And lyrics are very weird. I don't love all the lyrics, but they are very, very unique and poetic, and I have to appreciate it for that. Jeff Magnum is a great singer, even though his voice can get a little bit annoying. He's very emotive, very original. Everything about this album is very original, very unique, very special, and I love this album for that, and I'm gonna give it a 4.5 star rating out of 5. No, dog, it's not a 5-star album for me, bro. I hate to say it, man. But it's not for me, man. It's not my thing. AllMusic is the one that gave this a 5-star rating. They've actually given a lot of albums 5-star ratings. They're one of the more generous, especially when it comes to old music, they're more generous with 5-star ratings. But they give this a 5-star rating, but AllMusic is not the only one. A ton of critics give this a perfect score, and this is almost universally known by everyone except for Rolling Stone as one of the best albums of the 90s. I don't think this album was on Rolling Stone's best album of the 90s, because I went through every album on that list, every album, and listened to it. And not every album all the way through, but enough to get a feel for them. And I don't think this album was on their list. So, Rolling Stone be sleeping on Neutral Milk Hotel. I hate to come to this band's defense, but I'm going to have to, because it should be in there. It should be on that list. It's somewhere in the top 20, probably. It might be in my top 10, who knows? Have a great rest of your day.